What's happening? Welcome to another edition of 20 Pillow Lane. Uh, it's a different type of time in the athletic atmosphere this time of year, specifically within basketball circles. This is I felt a subject I felt the need to talk about from experience and in a couple of different realms, and then from just watching some of the things that I've seen over the previous couple of years within the profession of coaching. Um, so, this right now, we'll get into the episode of Taking Court with Coach O and kind of focus on being or the tumultuous time of year where coaches are seeking uh, new opportunities, seeking new jobs, and getting into that realm of their lives where it's a lot of turnover in the coaching world. You got coaches uh, being terminated, coaches being replaced, and some of those coaches getting new jobs, and the staff shake up with everything. But today, I want to specifically talk about um, when it comes down to choosing um, to apply for a job and how those decisions are made, and uh, specifically talking about finding the best fit for you as a coach. I see. I think a lot of times coaches see uh, vacancies for being a head coach, and they just apply because they're so hell bent on being a head coach. Even some assistant spots, and they don't understand that success lies within you going into a situation where it's the correct fit for you and your particular skill set, and that fit is not the same for everybody. So I always try to say, or I always think to myself, it's like Christmas. 'Tis the season of turnover. I'm not talking about your point guard turning the ball over, throwing an errant pass. It's the time of year when there are a lot of coaches who uh, are leaving jobs and seeking new jobs. Specifically in the basketball world, it's true on all levels. On the high school side, all the way to NCAA Division I BCS level. Uh, some of these openings are ones that some people could have predicted at the beginning of the year. You got coaches who are on the proverbial hot seat, um, and they knew going into the year, hey, you probably got to have a very robust year to avoid a change or to quote unquote save their job. However, there are always going to be uh, more openings which occur due to there being interim situations, retirements, politics, if you can believe that. A lot of politics. That one is probably most prevalent among all, which it shouldn't be that way. But politics, unfortunately, uh, play a big role in career opportunities. There are also some unforeseen situations where somebody um, maybe they had a good season, but there were some unforeseen rules or ethics violations. We have those things that occur and that create unexpected vacancies sometimes, and uh, I believe some of these more disappointing situations can be more limited if more coaches were really cognizant of the fit that's required for each job. As a former head coach on a collegiate level and assistant coach uh, on the high school, Division I, Division II, I've coached on every level except for JUCO and Division III. Even coached recreationally and travel ball. And I've had great experience in all types of different interview processes and dealing with athletic administration, um, and dealing with other coaches, my colleagues. So I fully understand how one can become excited at wanting to be a head coach, and even believing that the combined experiences that you had have prepared you to do so. Uh, However, my goal with this edition of Taking Court with Coach O is to help you understand the concept of, well, to help you understand that just meeting the qualifications of a position, just meeting the qualification of a position does not necessarily mean that you are the right fit for the job. And unfortunately, in some instances, the solicitation of your application and others was merely a formality, as the job was sometimes already filled before it was even posted. You should kind of always understand that it's about business, rarely ever personal, although they can be sometimes. However, there are some things that you kind of find out along the way uh, that will let you know if you're the right fit for the job. Um, it's a lot of things that you should consider when a job opening occurs. I would encourage you to kind of approach each situation as if you were recruiting a top prospect that you expected to be a program changer. First of all, when you think that you are ready to be a head coach, you believe that you can coach in any region of the country. Um, and you believe you can coach at any school because you believe that you know what you're doing, you believe that you're organized, and you believe that and should have evidence that what you're doing and what you believe in uh, has led to success. So you are believing in your own vision for doing things, but you need to understand that not everybody can coach across the country. Sounds crazy, but just telling you. As a coach, especially on the collegiate level, uh, contacts are important. Contacts and cultures are different. And unless you can demonstrate how, as a college coach, you have spent your entire life and career in the South, but you'll be able to jump right into, say, recruiting at school X on the West Coast, you're not going to be considered because they may be looking for somebody who has experience on that coast because that's where they feel like their further ground is. And you may have a marvelous plan on how you will get it done, but you better know how to kind of demonstrate that on your resume. Uh, have you recruited and signed West Coast players in the past? Who are your connects out there? Um, and unfortunately, you got to try to find a way to make sure you get the opportunity to even explain that plan. Because if your resume doesn't give them some type of indication that we need to move forward and explore this person's vision, you may not even get that opportunity. And in short, every job isn't a good job. Every good job for someone else isn't a good job for you, and vice versa. So you got to find your fit. You should want to know why the job is open. You should attempt to find out information on the job in as much detail as possible. Uh, Even those openings that see a uh, retirement is a choice to retire. So why are they retiring? Is there new athletic administration? Uh, in some situations, the coach didn't win. Why didn't they win? It's not always about coaching ability. Why didn't they win? Uh, why didn't they win there? If they had won previously, uh, what prevented them from being able to do it there? So what are the challenges with the job? Coaches are some of your best resources. Even the coach who has resigned or been dismissed, uh, even that person will have a perspective on the job, and sometimes they'll be willing to help you. or give you information. I learned a long time ago, when you ask people things, the worst they can say is no, or I don't want to answer. So I'm not going to go into a whole lot of great detail, but I'm just kind of tell you some things that you should know and want to know before applying or accepting a head coaching job. And I'm gonna kind of discuss it with, I guess, the different types of hires that I see. Uh, I guess first I talk about is kind of like legislative hires, and unfortunately, the truth of the matter is that there are some coaching jobs that the job advertisement does not say what that athletic department is truly looking for, and there are different reasons for that. Period, point blank. You know, I speak to my experiences and speak to others' experience that I know. Some athletic departments have to hire a certain gender for a position. They may need to hire, or they may, I say need to, but I always preference this by saying feeling like they need to, because um, I'm doing my dissertation now on Title IX, and one of the main points of that research that I'm doing is there are a lot of people in athletic administration and higher education administration, period, who do not truly understand the legislation of Title IX and what the purpose is for, and um, how to implement Title IX within their respective departments appropriately. So, sometimes they feel like they need to hire a minority or some other situation supposedly beyond their control. Uh, can you tell when these situations are the case? Not exactly, but I can tell you this: if the softball coach, the volleyball coach, and bowling coach are all male, and I'm just using these for example, you if you are male also, you probably won't be a candidate for that job. I'm just being honest with you. Uh, there is the old-fashioned way of finding out, and I found out this on at least 4 occasions, uh, with sidebar conversations with the people who interviewed me, uh, or off the record conversations. Coach, I really like you and think you be a great fit, but I gotta hire a female. And I've heard it even said in more uh, disparaging tones than that. Uh, then you got your political hires, uh, and as you may or may not know, there's some jobs that are simply already decided before they're advertised, and the advertisement is merely to kind of fulfill the laws of posting a job. And this can occur when someone has a relationship with an athletic director already, with the president. Uh, when an athletic director knew he or she would have an opening weeks before and sent out feelings to agents, et cetera, prior to the opening actually happening. Uh, One new way athletic departments avoid the necessary or the an unnecessary search or unnecessarily hiring a search firm, whatever, is when they have the person they want already on the staff. Um, they'll name her as an interim head coach for the year, and some state laws, you'll be surprised. Some state laws will allow a school to avoid a search if they're hiring an employee internally, if that person has performed that job on a temporary basis for at least a year. So, sometimes when I see interim head coach, uh, and it's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if they know that's who they want, they're legislatively using um, the laws to their advantage. So, like I said, they'll make a person an interim for a year and avoid the search if they can. Um, but you should also kind of know the configuration of where you're trying to go. You should know what system is in place at the institution and how the athletic department is run. Um, will you have a relationship with the president or no relationship other than kind of being cordial? And there's some campuses where the president is um, on the campus. That anybody can talk to them. They don't mind uh, having a meeting with anybody on campus. And then there's some presidents who are cabinet driven, whereas they have a cabinet of administrators, and those administrators have an area, and so any communication coming from that area should come from that administrator. And I mean, that's just how it is. Uh, does the athletic department or does the athletic director make the decisions for the department, or do they merely make suggestions? It's it's a difference. How much autonomy do the coaches have in operating their own program? For example, do you have rules and regulations for your program, or are there blanket athletic department rules and regulations? How are parental contacts and discipline issues handled? Is your program important and part of the mission of the college or athletic department? Those are things that you should know, what the mission of the athletic department is, what the mission of the college is, and how that program fits into that mission. So knowing the configuration of the department, it'll help you a great deal in the interview process. What are the resources? What are the resources? This alone can kind of determine what level of success you're able to attain uh, realistically. This is important on a national level, but where you kind of should be analyzing intently is your school's available resources. Uh, what are they compared to the resources of other member institutions within the conference? Because these are your sister schools, and this is who you will ultimately be compared against. Um, if the available resources for your program are kind of at the bottom of the conference or in high disparity with the rest of the conference, it may be an indicator as to why the program hasn't been successful. In these cases, you got to be able to answer basically kind of two questions. Is the college committed to increasing those resources, or are there other ways to improve the resources or take advantage of a unique situation at your school? Sometimes your school has a unique situation that nobody's really tapped into because they've been focusing on how it's been done in other situations, and they don't really know their institution. So sometimes your school has a unique situation that you can take advantage of. If the answer to those two questions are no, then you got to kind of ask yourself, if you're such a great recruiter that you can convince prospective student athletes to play for you, and the experience that you will provide is worth them passing on a full scholarship and other resources and investing in their own education. Ask yourself if you'll be energetic enough. It's going to require a lot of energy, a lot of hustle. You can't be the laid back type. So ask yourself, are you energetic enough to do this with every recruit? Explain how your vision, your plan for success is worth them passing up somebody else and the extra resources that somebody else can offer. You got to be able to explain that, which means that you have to really find the truth in being able to do that so that you believe it. That way, when you convey it, it's a real belief. It's something that you really believe, and it's gonna come off as genuine. Um, because what you can't do, you can't take that opportunity or take that job and then use these things as an excuse later on. Uh, and trust me, other institutions, they're telling, uh, they're basically, or your institution is telling you what they expect you to do with little, and they won't hesitate to get rid of you if you don't. Uh, which I always find funny because when you overcome those obstacles and do more with the little that they've given you. They never give you more because they say to themselves, well, you did all this and you didn't have this before, so you good. You don't need nothing else. That's always funny how that happens. It's double-edged sword. But one of the last things to talk about is the culture. What's the culture of the department? What's the culture of the school? This can kind of take many forms, but I'm specifically talking about: is it a family environment? How's the compliance department? Are they competent? I can't tell you how many horror stories I get from coaches whose compliance departments are they don't know situations that require a waiver or how a kid can be eligible. Uh, and we see, well, you guys might not see, but as coaches, we see all the time where a kid was at this school and we looked at the transcript and everything, and my people said there's no way a kid can be eligible. So a kid, made a choice to go to another school, and that school convinced them they was gonna be eligible, and they got them eligible because it was a simple process of, oh, we can get this waiver for them, or we can do this for them because the compliance department is competent and they understand how to use that good book to their advantage, and so that's important. Uh, is the campus one in which other departments resent you? Um, and unless uh, unless they know you, sometimes people don't know you, they resent your success or they resent you, period. You got to understand that, as a head coach, you got to be prepared to reach out and touch every department on campus. It'll make your job so much easier to do. If you aren't a people person like that, somebody on your staff better be. uh, I could go on and on, but I'm not gonna make this a long part. Uh, Essentially, I just want to tell you, don't apply to be a head coach unless you are prepared to be the best manager that you can be and respect the interest of others before you make any decisions. Your responsibility as a head coach goes beyond X's and O's, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be prepared to be everything to everybody, including your staff. I think the best head coaches have their pulse on every aspect of their program, and they have a unique way of dealing with all facets of the program. Do you know how to keep your staff motivated? Uh, when you know they're working hard and you aren't winning, or even worse, how do you deal with your staff working hard and being underpaid? Does your staff have families that they have to support and they underpaid? Are they having to work a second job to make ends meet? How do you manage all your staff members being involved in their children's extracurricular activities during the season, out of season? Uh, you allow children and spouses in the office, or is it straight business like? Do you understand the decisions you make as a person on a daily basis? They affect not only your job status, they affect your staff, and they affect those current players. Because if you do something where you lose a job, they may get a new coach who, you know, doesn't fit their system. So they end up transferring. It's a long cycle with a lot of people that, you got to be cognizant of the responsibility of being a head coach and what that really means, not only to you and your family, but what it means to everybody associated with the program. If you make an unethical decision, uh, you realize your staff might be out of a job, along with you and the families uh, that are going to suffer from the discretion that you made. Uh, are you prepared to be decisive? That's such an important word. Decisive in worst case scenarios. Trust me, they're gonna come. Now you get that book of things that can happen in life, and people say, well, in the worst case scenarios, but it's like usually some way out there. Well, now you're gonna come across some worst case scenario, and you're gonna have to make a decision that's gonna affect people's lives, not for the moment, but for the years to come. That's important, you know, and understand that type of responsibility. How you gonna handle that phone call that you get about a legal matter that your players is the victim of? You know, they're the victim of a serious assault, or even, you know, something more tragic than that. How will you handle relationship issues that may occur of all types of issues? Are you prepared to be the voice for the program and your players? We just seen how that can affect people within the last year, and some people lost their job taking on the voice of their players. Sadly, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to be the advocate of the people in your program? It's important. Are you committed to growing the game in the community and nationally? That means something. That means something. That means a lot. Do you truly have a vision and a plan that you can communicate? It's one thing to have a vision and a plan, but can I get you to understand that vision, to understand how you fit into that vision to your benefit? Can I communicate that to you? Makes it much a lot created. So I got to do how you fit into it at the end. Then your instruction experience, moves, maneuvers, knowing and making travel plans. So those seasons, coach overseas, a lot of times, if you're not fit, don't talk. Get in the email, in the question, 20 Pillow, JJ Oliver, Twitter, Coach JJ. Peace and remember with an expectation of out.